What's up, YouTube? Mini Minchino here, and welcome back to the Minnycast. For those who are new, this is the weekly podcast blog type show where I just kind of talk about stuff, including just a general summary of my week and just a topic that I feel like discussing. So, our topic for today is why I'm not fond of Catholic schools. Now, yeah, if if you're a bit sensitive about this kind of issue, just please be aware that this is basically going to be my personal experience and does not reflect every Catholic school in existence. It's just what I have experienced and subsequently my thoughts on what I've experienced that happen to involve a particular Catholic school. But before we get into that, how has your week been, you guys? Mine's been alright, pretty uneventful. I played a lot of Minecraft, played some Dust Elysian Tale, watched through the entirety of Psycho Pass in like 2 days. It's an awesome show. If you have not seen it, absolutely look it up. It's a great anime. And, I actually recorded episode 9 of the Minnycast with my brother today, but we had decided it was going to be today's episode, but we decided that it would be better to delay it slightly due to the issue at hand that we're tackling and the fact that we want to share as much information about it as we can. So we're going to ironically delay it so we can gather up as much as we can and share it all at once, kind of thing. But, yeah, I suppose that's it for update kind of things. I am gonna get into this now, and to be honest, I'm not entirely sure how to start. So, for those who don't know me in real life, which is a good amount of you, I was raised Catholic. I don't consider myself Catholic these days, however. I have grown very skeptical of the religion, mostly because of people around me and how they've used it. So, I don't know. I have my thoughts on it, and if you have your own thoughts that happen to differ from mine, then, you know, all the power to you. You do you. I choose to do me, and I have no disrespect for you guys that choose to believe what you believe. I just want to share my thoughts on it because, I don't know, I just feel like it's something that perhaps some people haven't thought of. I don't know. I feel like that's my reasoning for a lot of things, but I just kind of feel like sharing it ultimately. So, when I was a kid, I started out going to a Catholic school. Now, you know, for most people that don't really have disabilities and stuff, it's not a bad place to be at all. You know, I know lots of people that enjoyed their time at that school. I was a kid. I went there from the age of 4 till I turned 7, and then I went to the blind school because of the treatment I received at the Catholic school. So, my brother went to this school as well, and he was treated kind of like, since he's completely blind himself, he was kind of like, I mean, I don't know exactly how he was treated in the classes themselves, but, you know, I mean, they thought he was an angel or something, I don't know. Whereas me, being stuck between the sighted world and the blind world, they couldn't comprehend that, they couldn't understand that. To them, it's either you see or you don't, and they didn't really understand that, you know, sight can vary even among young people. So that was difficult to deal with because of that, yes, because, I'm using it twice in a sentence. Don't worry about the improper grammar. Because of that, though, they thought I was genuinely, like, mentally delayed and had, like, all kinds of, I don't know, they thought I was retarded, to say the least. Their words, not mine, actually. They thought I was mentally retarded because I couldn't figure out how to read, I couldn't figure out, you know, how to do the work that I was supposed to be doing, because I couldn't freaking see it, and they didn't understand that I needed larger print, and, some people at that school went out of their way to get me a CCTV, which would help me magnify my work and stuff like that, so I could read and do it. But, you know, they're like, oh, this isn't necessary, you're just being an entitled brat, or whatever. And, this wasn't just, like, the kids saying this to me, this was the adults, all the staff at the school. And, if I wasn't dealing with that, I was dealing with, you know, getting pushed and shoved around by other kids and stuff like that, because they didn't understand what was going on, I guess, and I don't know, it was just the fear of the unknown kind of got to them, I guess. I'm not 100% sure what happened, but I feel like that's a factor. Yet, the entire time, you know, they were preaching, you know, the whole goodwill toward man kind of thing that, you know, you'll hear from most Christians and Catholics and such, and, you know, just hearing all this stuff about God and how everything was his design and stuff like that, which my question is, at that point, hypothetically speaking, if me being visually impaired was God's design, why are you treating me like crap for it? You know, hypothetically speaking, if you're supposed to respect all of his designs and such, then why is this not being respected, despite it being acknowledged that it's God's design? To me, that's some BS right there. I don't know. I feel like I'd love to hear anybody's response to this, to be honest. Like, I'd love to... I don't really want to necessarily argue with y'all. I have my opinions. I intend to stick with them. However, that doesn't make your opinions invalid. So absolutely share it. I'd love to hear your perspective on it. Who knows? If we're lucky, I'll change my mind. But, you know, for the moment, just please bear with me as I go along with this. And, yeah. I have been basically, I have been excluded from activities, ridiculed for my disability, and just generally been made fun of, and just generally treated horribly by everyone at that particular school. And I know that sounds like an exaggeration, but it really honestly wasn't. And I mean, there was, like, you know, the occasional person that was pretty alright with it and stuff like that, like my Braille teacher. She retired a number of years later, but my first grade teacher was absolutely horrible to me, and she was probably the worst perpetrator of all these things that I underwent at that school. And I remember a good number of years later, I was informed that my Braille teacher, my old Braille teacher, who not only taught me Braille, but also, you know, I guess started a little program, I guess, where my brother and I would get removed from certain classes and we'd get to experience things in the world firsthand, kind of thing. And those were probably the best times. That did so much for me during childhood. It's not even funny. But I was informed that she was retiring. So my mother took my brother and I to her retirement party because we wanted to see her again. It'd been a long, long time. And who else was there but my first grade teacher? She was acting all nice and whatever, but honestly, when I looked at her, I just felt nothing but disdain and hate. And normally I don't hate for no reason. It's just all that stuff that had been done to me was mostly because of her. And, you know, I wasn't having it, honestly. She was being all nice to me. It's like, oh, you've grown into, you know, such a mature-looking adult or whatever. And I'm like, you know, I still hate you. And I hate saying that, honestly. And it's not, like, to the point where that's consuming me kind of thing. It's just... I hate what happened when I was a kid, and it wasn't my fault. And she was especially unhelpful the day I lost my vision. That whole thing is another story in and of itself, but long story short, I was given all kinds of shit for not being able to do my work, but at the time I was so disoriented I could not read to finish the assignment. It was an assignment where I had to, like, unscramble words, and I couldn't focus on the page to read it because I didn't understand what was happening. Therefore, I couldn't interpret what I was seeing. Like, it was very disorienting. It's kind of like, I guess it's kind of like everything was an optical illusion to me at that point, I guess. And it's just really confusing and it's hard to interpret. I don't know if that's an accurate comparison, but that's all I can think of at the moment. So, yeah, basically there was that, and on top of the fact, she had ordered me to like the principal's office and had my mother called, and she was basically ridiculing me in front of my mother, and my mom was basically like, okay, well, what's happening? And thankfully, at that point, she finally believed there was something wrong with my eyes, even though I told her that morning something was very, very wrong. And I don't know, it's something I'll never forget. It was a horrible, horrible experience, and that experience made me beg my mom to take me out of that school, and she still wouldn't until she received a certain book that the teachers would use to communicate with each other, and they had sections on all of the students where they would write notes about their progress and things like that. Mine consisted of, I don't know what's wrong with this child, I think she's retarded, and this, that, and the other thing, that just constant attacks and everything. And my mom was so infuriated about it, she ended up burning the book, and she tells me to this day, she's like, I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I didn't react so suddenly and brought it to the school board's attention and things like that, rather than just simply taking me out of that school and finally putting me in the school I wanted to go into, which I then realized was probably not the best choice. It's a bit complicated. It goes further. But I don't know, ultimately that's kind of why I'm not a fan of Catholic schools or Catholicism in general, to be honest. And I realize it's not specifically based on the religion itself. It's more so based on what happened to me, and I fully acknowledge that. Which is why I keep saying, like, anybody that is, you know, devoutly Catholic or, you know, very, very religious, I don't mean any disrespect towards you at all. Again, I'm just sort of reiterating my personal experiences and why they have affected my mindset. And to be honest, that's kind of about it. If you guys happen to have any thoughts on that, which I'm sure there are going to be people that do, feel free to share your comments or stories in the comments down below. And you know, if there's anything that I have yet to clarify on, then yeah, definitely feel free to ask. I'd rather have a discussion rather than an argument. Like, I just want to share my experience, and you guys can share your thoughts. So, yeah, I think that's gonna be it for today's episode, you guys. Keep an eye out for next week, where I speak with my brother about finding jobs, with... How am I gonna word this? Finding jobs with a disability and how hard that can be, and, yeah, stuff like that. It's not all doom and gloom, to be fair, so... You know, stay tuned for that next week, you guys, and I'm going to go ahead and say thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to check out any other series I have on this channel, as well as join the Discord, which will be in the description down below. And, yeah, guys, until next time, Minny out.